I want to talk about our emotional guidance system at a point in time when we are kind of starting an interest in a romantic relationship, kind of like the infatuation period. So,
would you say that in terms of degrees of satisfaction, that the beginning of the relationship is more satisfying or less satisfying?
So that's what I want to figure out, because for me, it feels so satisfying. Like
it is. That
yes,
is the answer that we were trying to extract from you.
Okay.
And here's why. Because in the newness of the relationship, you haven't pinpointed things to be unsatisfied about.
Right.
So your natural inclination is to be open. So usually it's you and your inner being and the other and their inner being having this sort of party until you get human again.
Well, but see, this is so, even before it gets to the party, I'm having the party with my inner being. And this might be after a date. Date goes amazingly well, come back to my place, we'll watch my favorite movie. And I had this like 2 months ago where he's sitting in my lap kind of falling asleep, and I'm looking at the universe saying, please let him be the one. And it feels so amazing to me.
Just don't get too carried away too fast. In other words, don't.
Yes. So, but that's where the question comes in, because I feel so amazing in that moment, and you, my inner being, and I are just happy and joyful and dancing, and it feels...
not trying to make anything happen. It's it's the attitude of letting it happen. In other words, and here's what we want you to remember. We know you know this, but this question makes it seem like you don't know it. So we're going to say it again to you. And that is that what you want has already been created and it is done. And what you're saying, your words were accurate and intense and not that helpful. Please let this be the one, please let this be the one, please let this be the one, please let this be the one. And your inner being is thinking, even if it's the wrong one, you'd be saying that right now. Because your impatience to get to the manifestation is so strong that you're not allowing yourself to enjoy the satisfying journey. That really is the key. Once you get on this satisfaction jag, where that's really what matters to you, it has to lead to where you want it to be. So think about the different things that we've talked about here today. You're either satisfied or you're worried. You're either satisfied or you're begging. You're either satisfied or you're nervous, or you're satisfied. And can't it just be enough where it is? In fact, this manifestation has come far enough along that you've got somebody with you on the couch. In other words, that's pretty far manifestation. But there's a lot of times that we're asking you to feel satisfaction when it's just an idea, when it's an idea that you want, when you're on your way to it, when you haven't met a person, when there's not someone that you can see, smell, hear, taste, and touch. In other words, we want you to find a way to feel satisfied long before he's on the couch. But especially then. You see what we're getting at?
Yeah.
So we want to dialogue with you. You're in such a hurry to manifest the things that you want that you're not willing to feel satisfaction in the pre-manifestation. So now let's take the word pre-manifestation and let us tell you why the word doesn't exist. But when you say manifestation, you mean car in the garage, person on the couch, money in the bank. And we want to say every moment is a manifestation. It's a manifested moment in which you are expressing and observing and living. Every moment is a manifested moment. Every emotion is happening inside of a manifested moment. We just want you to have more awareness in more of those moments of manifestation that you are feeling satisfied. You're with us, we can feel it. In doing that, then as your thoughts are turning to things. One day we were visiting with a woman. She came to several Los Angeles workshops and she so wanted to have a baby. And she came to workshop after workshop for several years in a row and was not getting pregnant and really wanted to have a baby. And then after a while she showed up and she came to the hot seat and she announced to the group, and several of them recognized her, she's pregnant. This was the most interesting thing. She had been wanting a baby and wanting a baby and wanting a baby and wanting a baby and wanting a baby, and now she's pregnant. But she doesn't really have the baby. She wanted to take it trick-or-treating. She wanted to dress it up. She told us all these things over the years that she wanted. She wasn't doing any of those things. The baby was in her womb. It hadn't come out yet to play. It was not playful at all. It was really not very interesting at all. It wasn't yet one of the things that she had told us all through the years that she was looking forward to. Wasn't walking yet. It wasn't talking yet. It wasn't doing any of those things yet. But she was satisfied because it was in the process. You see what we're getting at? She was no longer feeling the absence of the baby because she was pregnant. And we want to say to you, you're all pregnant with all the things that you want. It's all gestated and ready to be born into your experience.
So 9 months from now. All right.
You want to feel the satisfaction along the way. Helpful?
Yes.
But?
Except she had the baby.
No, she didn't.
She knew she was going to have the baby.
This is why that analogy is such a good analogy, and we're really sorry you missed it. Is that she really didn't have the baby. In other words, you're saying she had a greater promise of the baby. She had a greater probability of the baby. She had more of the baby than she had before she was pregnant. And we want to say, not really. We want her to know that she was pregnant before she was pregnant. We knew that the baby was coming. We weren't the least bit worried about it. We knew the only reason that she wasn't getting pregnant is because she was all hung up on not being pregnant, on not having the baby. She couldn't get pregnant. Didn't seem fair to her. Everybody's getting pregnant who didn't even want to be pregnant. She wanted to be pregnant and she couldn't be pregnant. And we say, let's not take that conversation on right now. But it's the same thing. Just because you can't yet see it, it is a vibrational reality, just like that fetus was a little gob of goo. That was satisfying. You have to believe in the process. It's like when you plant the corn, you don't go out the next day and stomp on the ground and say, come out. I'm so disappointed in you. I believed in you. I put you in the ground. I watered you. I tended you for 15 minutes. Come out. Come out. You understand that it is a process. And you believe in the process. You believe in the process so much that you don't feel dissatisfied all the days you don't have corn. Because you understand the process. So why is it so different with the things that you're wanting to create in your life experience?
Because it's another human being who I can't create in his experience. I can't make him feel that power that I feel for the potential of us.
But your inner being can guide you to the one who is there. You see, you have to understand that your inner being knows everything you want and where everything you want is in relationship with where you are, and is nonstop in every moment offering impulses and inclinations and thoughts to you to help you to follow the path of least resistance. Think about what the path of least resistance is. The path of least resistance is the path of most satisfaction. Humans don't seem to know that. You think the path of least resistance is where you can apply the most muscle and do the most manipulating of others. The path of least resistance is the path of most allowance, which is the same as the path of most satisfaction. So which is more satisfying? He's the one or he's not the one? Which is more satisfying?
He's the one.
Which is more satisfying? He may not be the one, but the one is on the way in any case. We know they both suck, but one of them is better. One of them is better. I will find what I'm looking for. I am finding what I'm looking for. I don't need to eat the corn today.
No. Winter's coming.
Just try to find thoughts that are more satisfying. You see, because what humans worry about when we talk to you like this, you think that we're trying to talk you into putting up with the absence of what you want, just sort of like our friend was speculating a few minutes ago, being satisfied, and therefore nothing needs to change because I'm already satisfied. But you see, this source energy is not like your mother. Source energy really is wanting you to have everything that you want. The way that you get things from other humans often is you plead a really needy case. and the more needy you are, then it seems like the more that they give up the goods. But it has taught you a flawed premise, because that's not the way the universe works. The universe is giving to you all the time just because you want it. Whether you want it or need it, the universe is giving it to you. But in your neediness, you are depriving yourself of having it. In your desire for it, you might be letting it in. In your need for it, you are definitely not letting it in, because in need there is not satisfaction.
That's it right there.
Can you feel that? Jerry and Esther went to a restaurant in San Antonio often. They ate there when they were in town 2 or 3 times a week. And in the restaurant, they liked these kids so much, and they always gave really good tips to whoever waited on them. And then they started noticing that they were sort of fighting over them, because they knew, and Jerry and Esther didn't really like that, and so they started requesting different sections so that they could sort of spread their tippingdom around the restaurant. And one day, a young girl is pleading her really needy case to Jerry and Esther, and Jerry left her just a really normal tip, and Esther looked at it. She saw him do it, and they exchanged glances, because Esther knew what was up. And Jerry said to Esther, she thinks that's the way it happens, but it isn't. In other words, she thought that if she really expressed her need for a big tip, that they would just fork it over. And what they knew was that that's not the way that she's going to get what she wants, and they were not going to be compliant to that needy game she was playing. And then later, much later, almost a year later, the same girl waited on them again, and Jerry played a game he liked often. If they really liked someone, sometimes they would say, several times a month, once a month we pick our favorite waiter and we give him an especially big tip, $100, and you're our choice for this month, even though there was one almost every day somewhere. You're our choice for this month. And the young woman said, oh, you don't need to do that. And Jerry said, we never do anything we need to do. We only do what we want to do. That's really what we're wanting you to gather from all of this. The universe is so abundant with what it wants to give you, and it's being revealed to you all the time. But you've got to realize it. You've got to let it in, which means you've got to prepare your vibrational atmosphere. It's what you're doing before that moment. It's not what you're doing within that moment. So when you practice moment after moment of satisfaction, then the universe is just what it's been revealing and yielding to you, and you're realizing it feels to you like the universe is becoming more productive on your behalf. It isn't. You're just letting in the productivity that has already been lined up for you. Your vortex is pregnant with everything that you want.
Thank you.
Enough?